All right, what's going on, guys? This video, I'm going to talk about what people call voice to skull weapons, or shorthand for V2K. If you're watching this, you might be going through something that feels impossible to explain. Maybe you may, it may feel like you're hearing, like, I don't know, ringing sounds in the ear, tinnitus, or it may appear as if you have looping conversations going on in your mind. And then you have these type of physical sensations come out of nowhere. It's scary and it's kind of isolating. And I'm making this because I've been there. And I know what it's like to make sense of things that seem like they shouldn't be happening. So I would look for complex answers. But what I found, what I experienced, it wasn't a secret weapon or some type of conspiracy. It's just a simple thing in psychology called classical conditioning. Chances are you probably was around a group of people or an organization where there was some type of conflict surrounding you. Chances are you were probably an overperformer, high achiever at a job. And out of nowhere, you start noticing these type of conflicts or these type of strange occurrences start happening around you. Let me start by giving this analogy. You ever notice how you ever drive past McDonald's and out of nowhere you start whistling their jingle? I'm loving it. And you notice how, like, out of nowhere you just whistle it. And chances are it's because, like, all throughout the years, like if you may have went there a few times and had a nice meal, and you may have seen a lot of commercials, and your brain draws a parallel. So that's why whenever you would go past a McDonald's, it automatically comes out of your mouth. I'm loving it. And that's a type of classical condition um, through psychology. This quote unquote voice to skull thing works the exact same way. You may have been in an environment where it was deliberately made chaotic around you, where things were confusing, and your brain, it seems to be attracted to patterns and strange stimuluses. Your brain is a survival machine. It's designed to find patterns, even if the pattern isn't as important as you would think. When you're stressed out, your brain stays in high alert mode, and it starts misinterpreting um, neutral body noise like tinnitus, muscle tension, or hearing electrical hums and things like that from like the refrigerator or power lines as something threatening. It's not that you're losing it, it's that when you're in a state of stress and hypervigilance, your mind becomes more aware of things. When you see people online talking about these V2K or remote weapons, they're often trying to put a name to this type of confusion. But the best way out is to realize it's an internal process, not an attack with weapons. What it is, I'll explain to you how it works. I've had it happen to me about 6 different times across 6 different type of professions, people of different ethnicities. Where you probably want to. I was the most productive guy on the team, and they really couldn't justify firing me. But what began was a coordinated type of psychological warfare type of thing. Now, my first experiences, the quote unquote V2K, I was in an environment where I was dealing with coworker sabotage, and that's a real type of thing. And what seemed to get these type of ideas in your mind is a type of suggestibility. So suppose if I was at a job, I was doing something that required concentration. So I would be in the process of talking to one coworker about a process or a work related task. Out of nowhere, somebody would walk past and blow in your ear as hard as they could. And if you're already in a stressful environment, if you had this type of strange stimulus that gets introduced to you when you're in the process of doing things, your mind draws a parallel between that. And you'll find that whenever you're in the process of beginning to focus, your brain it remembers the sound of you having your ear blown into, and your body remembers the tension and everything. And like I had it done on different occasions to a point where it would be more than one person involved in it. Again, someone may be asking you a question about your work and why you in the process of remembering information. One time I had it where while I was explaining something to a coworker, one person walks past blowing my ear as hard as they can, and then afterward they made a random statement, and it had to do with something sexual in nature. So now, when you have these two unrelated stimuluses happening, when your body is already in a state where it's stressed out because of the environment, whenever now you would be in the process of thinking, your brain would remember the sound of having someone blow in your ear. Your body remembers the stress, and then that strange statement that was said to me, it all happens at the same time. And what this does is it's a type of a stress to the nervous system that's injected around an executive function in the body. So over time, if the longer that it happens, remember how I said your mind draws parallels and processes. It can be done on a positive aspect or a negative aspect. Remember how earlier I spoke about the analogy about going to McDonald's, whistling the commercial and the jingle? That's the positive side of it. The negative flip side of it is the same thing can be accomplished if you use confusion and a little type of a stress injected into the body around a type of action. So look at it like this. Nobody has any type of space age lasers or nothing like that aimed at your brain. It's just classical conditioning and psychology. What I would say is that if you find yourself, if you identify some type of targeted person or what's they call it, chosen one, the best bet is to just get out of the environment. Any environment you get in where you realize the dynamic around you is shifting, or you'll have this type of simulated chaos surrounding you to like make you destabilize. The best thing to do is to just get out of the environment, get yourself a different job, because the longer you stay there, nothing good is going to happen. So I would say, if you find yourself in that type of environment where your nervous system is stressed out and your body is in a state of hypervigilance, when you leave that environment and you're able to get your footing back and your nervous system calms down, all of those strange anomalies and things like that will gradually and incrementally fade away. Thank you for listening.